that are joining us right now. We're just really thankful. We're just getting ready to shoot the AlignUs podcast on, step two, which is uh, going after taking action on what excites you the most. And we were just having a little bit of a conversation about that. If you're in the audience, if you can leave any kind of questions you would like Taylor, Priyanka, or myself to answer, that would be greatly appreciated. And any other comments, we welcome. And just really excited to have everybody here today. All right. All right. Let's get started. All right. Have you ever had a moment of pure excitement, an inspired idea, a passion project, your gut telling you that you're on the right path, but then you hesitated? Maybe you were thinking the timing wasn't perfect. Maybe you talked yourself out of it. Maybe you convinced yourself that you weren't ready. The thing about humans that they don't understand is that inspiration without action are just daydreams. The universe responds to what you do, not what you want. And that spark that you're feeling, that's not random. That's your soul giving you a signal. In today's AlignUs podcast, we're going to be talking about the step two in the conscious creation model, taking action on what excites you the most. Welcome, everybody, to the AlignUs Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Nikhil Sharma, and I'm so grateful to have you guys here with us today. Over the last several years, I've made the transition from becoming a physician and working in the hospital to pursuing a purpose-driven business, which is founded on conscious living and transformational change. And through this podcast, we hope to share stories, people, and tools that will help you live with your highest alignment instead of living in obligation. And joining me today as my co-host is the brilliant Dr. Prianca Naik, a physician who chose to pursue her childhood dreams in becoming a model and therefore becoming an example on what it is to take action on what truly excites them. Welcome, Prianca.
Thank you so much. I do love this topic, all taught to me by Taylor Wells, the creator of Conscious Creation and the 5 Steps.
Yes.
Last week we talked about following your highest excitement, which is step 1, but then you can't just sit on your tush and do nothing. You have to take action aligned with your highest excitement, but you take the action when you feel that kind of, that's something Taylor taught me, which was interesting. You have to feel it in the moment that you actually want to take the action. Like, you don't want to take action on your highest excitement / goal when you're in a bad mood or you're not feeling like it, or you need to rest, which we were talking about before the call. How difficult it can be to sometimes do nothing as well. Just to even allow the messages or like downloads to come in, or
yeah.
And then there were 2.
Yeah. But yeah,
she'll be right back.
Yeah. So basically, Taylor, in your experience, the most crucial step is, yes, we figured out what our highest excitement is, but now we need to take action on that. And for all humans, there is a little hesitation when it comes to taking action. And that hesitation is a very critical point in our journey. So what have you seen in individuals when they come to you and they're at this point where they need to take action, but they're really scared? Like, how is that showing up in their life? And how are you guiding them, to take that step?
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks for talking about this topic, which, by the way, I didn't create how we create reality. All that is did. I just put it into a little cute formula that helps people, that works every single time. So this is not kind of a philosophy. This is physics. This is how reality is created. So if you follow along with the 5 steps, and we're talking about step 2 today, and you do this with precision, every moment that you choose, you will be successful. Okay, so it's not about being perfect. It's about being authentically yourself and giving it your all. So one thing I wanted to say, Nick, about how you posed the question, which is a great question, and I've seen so many people over almost 25 years I don't prefer the word struggle, so I'll say create an opportunity for growth with the option of taking action. What I wanted to say is that actually humans aren't born that way. And this happens all the time, like all day, every day. My clients will say, well, that's just how humans are. And I say, no, they're not. We weren't born that way. We're born a clean slate. And one of the most amazing things about reality, and this is going to sound negative, it's not, here we go, is that it's meaningless until we create the meaning. And that's the best ever because we choose the meaning of our reality. So as a baby, we're a clean slate. And we learn this. We're spoon fed this through various, well-meaning people, through culture, et cetera, et cetera. And so, yes, by the time people make it to me, which is almost always, well, it is always people who are ready, because I ask for that from the universe. First of all, with step one, which we talked about in the last podcast, people feel generally, they've learned this, they didn't come in this way, they feel guilt about, really, I can do what I'm excited about? We were talking about that before we got on the podcast. Step two is the actual taking action, right? And the issue, just so you know, nuts and bolts, everybody, the issue is we live in a physical plane. This is third density. It's 3D, okay? It's Earth, school. So when your higher mind is giving you these little breadcrumbs through the excitement, that's how your higher mind, your authentic self speaks to you. He, she, or they will throw you a breadcrumb. Until you act on that, why would your higher mind throw you another one, right? They're waiting. Like, take action. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be anything, just do something. And sometimes people say, but Taylor, I don't know whether I should do this or this. And I say, flip a coin. Because if you do A, right, and it doesn't work out because you get a red light synchronicity, then you try B. Or if you get A, when you flip the coin, you go, oh, darn, I wanted B. And then you really preferred B. So I do see it with my clients. And usually it's when people hit rock bottom that they're like, they've had their hand on the stove so long and they have blisters and everything. And then they're like, yeah. So I love to help people take action before you hit rock bottom, but it's all up to you because you have free will. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. And I feel like, you get to a point in life where there is something inside you that's telling you that the current situation that I'm in isn't bringing me emotional fulfillment anymore. However, for a long time, I'll just talk about myself. I stayed in that same situation because it was very comfortable. And that's what your nervous system does, is it protects you. It keeps you comfortable. Whether that comfort is causing you pain, it's at least a known pain, because change is very difficult for your nervous system to handle. Even though at the end of that change, it may bring you this complete emotional fulfillment, it is an unknown territory, and your nervous system doesn't like the unknown. It likes to be in a situation where it knows every single thing that's going on around it. But for me, there came a point where my life just became unmanageable. It came to a point where I felt burnt out, that whatever I was doing, it wasn't bringing me that emotional fulfillment. I was listening to my higher power or my higher self, and it was telling me that, Nick, you need to create this AlignUs company. It's been on your mind for a long time. So you really need to go ahead and do that. The thing that I did, what I feel like, wasn't for my highest good, was that I was starting to build that. But at the same time, I continue to do my job and work in the hospital, even though my job in the hospital was making me miserable. I hated it. I just felt like it was a sense of security, and that it was bringing me income, and that doing AlignUs wasn't going to bring me income right away. So somehow I can manage to do both at the same time. And that's where I found out I was wrong. But it didn't lead me to eventually take that inspired action, which was making that leap of faith and taking action towards my dream and my soul's calling.
What you're talking about, and congratulations, I'm eternally proud of you. And you're a big inspiration for those listening. I know that. what you were defining is called the motivational mechanism, and this actually is in every single human when they're born. And what it says, quite simply, is, and this is all very simple, everybody. It's very simple physics. Any human being, will never do anything one moment longer unless they believe it serves them. So your lower mind, your critic, your inner critic, your negative ego, who we love, he's still Nick. He's just like grounded in the earth. Like, we got to take care of Nick. Hey, we trained a long time to be a doctor. You ain't dropping that, blah, blah, blah. So, and also you can tell it's the critic because it talks out of two sides of its mouth and it feels bad. That's generally how you know. But the key word in that is believe. So you believed everything you said is accurate, that, okay, this sucks, but I'm safe. I know, I know the drill here, the devil is better than the devil you don't. Someone told me that once. And so you stay there. And what happened with you, Nick, was it just got to be, it was, you hit the rock bottom. Mm-hmm. How do you believe, well, that I just gave it away, but how would a person take the leap before they hit the rock bottom? By knowing that it's a belief, and beliefs can be changed, right?
Yeah. I agree. Like that would be very helpful. And these tools that you have recommended and have shown me along the way would be inspirational in helping me make that leap prior to hitting that rock bottom. The issue with me was that I had become so disconnected to who I was at a core. And that has a lot to do with when we are born into an environment, into a family, into a society, and that society starts the programming process that eventually ends up being who you are. But who you're meant to be is what your soul has been brought here and for you to go ahead and connect to in this lifetime. And that journey is what I feel our life's path is all about. The issue is that, or the challenge becomes, is reconnecting yourself to that soul's calling. And so the first step I did when I got to take my chance in making that leap of faith was I found some help, and that help can be in terms of meeting coaches, could be therapy, can be family. But when I did reach out to a coach to help guide me through this difficult transition and change, the first thing that they did, and you also helped me do, was identify what are these beliefs that I have? What are these values that I stand for? Because the values and beliefs that I was first standing with were values and beliefs that were given to me by my family, were given to me by society, were given to me by those that were around me as I was growing up. But now that I've grown up, those beliefs and values may not be resonating with me anymore. And I need to make sure I get in line with what it is that truly resonates with me now. And I feel like that's one of the more powerful things that you have taught me as well, was what belief do you have right now that needs to be changed in order for you to pursue the action that you're looking to take?
Yeah, exactly. And I call it the belief tree. So you ask yourself, what must I believe to be true to feel blank? And your inner critic, in that moment, your critic will make you feel like you're going to die. Like you actually, hi, welcome back.
Welcome back.
You actually think you're going to die. Like, well, I can't do that. You could look at someone else and go, oh, sure, that's fine. And you actually think it would be fine for them. Oh, but I could never do that, And that's when wait a minute, something's awry. But yeah, it's always coming from the belief. It's beta. So it's first your belief, then your emotion, then your thought, then your action. And at the beginning of the podcast, Nick was talking about how important action is and that's a challenging step for people. True. However, some people I've seen, because of how they have been programmed to take action and grind and hustle, taking action out of alignment is not a great idea. Okay.
Yes.
So it's a better idea to take a nap or meditate or go for a walk instead of jumping. So when we're talking about action here, we're talking about action from alignment and from a feeling of highest excitement. And sometimes people say, well, how do I tell the difference between excitement and anxiety? Nick, does that resonate with you? Anxiety and what? Yeah.
It does. And that's an important thing for people to be able to distinguish.
Yeah. So you answer it.
Me answering. So for me, so excitement for me is like, it's something that I've spent time nurturing within myself from a grounded state of being, and understanding that it is what I'm trying to do is lighting me up with passion. So that is excitement. It literally doesn't feel like work. It feels like I'm pursuing something that's coming from my heart center. And it's something that when I wake up every morning, I'm excited to get after. Anxiety provoking action is something that's usually done impulsively. It's done by your state of fear. It's because fear is such a primal emotion. And so it causes us to produce actions that aren't aligned for our highest good. And remember, our reality is our mind and our thoughts plus our emotions, and obviously, and so based on those things, if our mind and our thoughts are clear and our emotions are balanced, then we can expect realities that are presenting in front of us that are going to be emotionally fulfilled. And I think that's a really important thing for people to really understand and grasp, is that we control the reality that we want through these thoughts that we have, through the emotions that we have, and everything is literally under our own control. Priyanka, are you back with us?
The thoughts
back. I'm like, I don't even...
Hello.
Hi. Sorry.
Hey.
Technology. Technology.
It is technology. What were we going to
say,
Taylor?
Yeah. So I think it's really, these are all wonderful points. And everyone, remember, take what you want and leave the rest, and see what resonates with you. And you don't have to remember everything that we're saying. Just see what lands. And, if you want to take notes, it's fine, but you really don't need to. Like, whatever you're meant to kind of take in this moment, it's kind of like a time release capsule. Later, tomorrow you might be, whatever, commuting to work and be like, oh, and it'll just kind of resonate with you. But basically, your actions. So one thing about excitement that Nick hit on that's really, really important is that wild horses will not keep you from doing this, okay? And you can tell someone who's lit up with inspiration, and they're not sitting around, all right? Now, not that rest and chilling isn't can't be highest excitement, because it can. Absolutely. Sometimes that is your highest excitement, to chill. So that's not what I meant. What I mean is that I never consider 100% authentically. All my clients know this. I don't consider what I do as work. I truly love it. I'll do it till the day I walk out or sleep off this planet. I love it. And I am also a very high energy person. So I did other things in life from a high energy place that was nothing like this. It's very distinctive. You'll know the difference. And your lower mind is very tricky and very manipulative a little bit. And we'll be able to tell, oh no, we're losing Nick. He's going to go start that company, and we got to keep him here with us. So says, but this is so exciting. And, but what about Aunt so-and-so? She loves you being a doctor and all that. And so there's the guilt, right? That's never excitement. Remember, it's always your authentic self. And now, by the way, you might follow your excitement and hit a red light synchronicity or a yellow light, meaning like it doesn't flow at the moment. That doesn't mean anything's wrong. That's just divine timing saying not yet. Okay. So that's a really important point. Another important point is you can do affirmations till the cows come home. And I actually have a deck of affirmations. I believe in them. They're great. I have them all over the place. I have piles. If you don't change that ultimate belief, it's not going to stick. It's just not, because it's going to keep coming up, and that critic is going to keep pulling you down. So how you can tell the difference is what Nick said. It's that lit up feeling, and you just really choose to do this, and you go, and then you sleep, and it doesn't feel like work. Now, some people say, Taylor, I have no idea what my excitement is. And I say, it's not a big deal. Just start with the simple things. You could, in this moment, you're watching this podcast. So I guess this is was your excitement. Thank you.
Yeah.
after this, you could, talk to a friend, read a book, take a walk, have a meal, watch a movie, take a nap, whatever. Start with the small stuff and then talk to your higher mind and say, I'm open, right? And really go into that self-examination and have, as Nick said in our first podcast about this, you need to have some quiet, reflective time. And I recommend the morning because it's a very auspicious time for kind of getting downloads and, it's quiet and people aren't around, but whatever works for you. If you're a night person, that's fine too. But you do need that time to be able to some honest self-reflection is very important.
Yeah, I love that. And, I want to turn the attention a little bit to, we're in this like hesitating state. A lot of times, and I can speak for myself, is that my self-worth wasn't great. I felt very confused. I didn't have the belief that I could necessarily become an entrepreneur because I wasn't raised to be an entrepreneur. There's all these thoughts that start coming to your brain when you get to a point where you want to make change. It's your nervous system, putting out those fear signals. But we can control to listen to those fear signals, or we can choose to not listen to them. And I think that's a really important thing for people to understand, is that we're going to have negative thoughts that come into our brain. We have 60,000 thoughts that come to our brain every single day. And for the normal person, about 80% of those thoughts are negative. They're self-sabotaging. So it's important for us to just recognize the fact that, hey, is it that I really can't become an entrepreneur? Where is the evidence that has shown that I can't become that? Because if I put my mind to something, I can become whatever it is that I'd like to. I have to just be intentional with it. I have to come up with a plan, and then I need to take action on that plan. And oftentimes we start thinking way down the road, like, okay, well then how am I going to get marketing for this? Or where is money going to come in? Or, how is this going to be supported? And that's where a lot of ideas and the change to make things happen tend to die, is because we tend to overthink instead of focusing on grounding ourselves into the present moment and just realizing, what is one thing I can do today that I can take action on what it is that's making me truly excited. This is not something that happens overnight. It takes years sometimes to actually make your dream come true. So patience, like we mentioned, is a very, very important thing, as well as staying grounded in the present moment. And the next most important thing is to build trust within yourself to improve that self-worth. So I'm asking you, Taylor, what are some things that our viewers can do when they're at that hesitating point to build trust within themselves that, hey, what I'm doing isn't crazy. I'm following what is making me excited, but I'm hesitating because I'm scared a little bit.
Yes. Thank you. I love that question. Actually, there are several great questions there. So first of all, let's start with fear. So remember, there's only one energy. Okay, you are one energy. So I'm going to say something that's going to sound really different. So hopefully your mind is open. Fear is the same energy as excitement, believe it or not. If you believe it, this is going to go really easily for you. Okay, so there's only one energy. You have a signature vibration, a signature energy with which you were born. Okay, and so here you are in Earth school with this vibration, this energy. The fear is that energy from a belief that's not yours. Okay, that's someone else's. That's heavy. If it's heavy, it's not yours. Drop it. It's someone else's baggage. So how do I drop it, Taylor? Well, you go right at the fear. You go right to the front door. You open the door, because guess what? There is nothing there. It's just more of you. Remember, your critic is you. So we don't want to kill the critic.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
No killing the critic. So your critic is just scared because your critic feels like an imposter because your critic's not on the mountain and doesn't see the broader view and says, what about the funding? What about the marketing? So the how, right, is what quote unquote kills dreams. And that's the critic, really, right? The lower mind. So remember, fear is the same energy as excitement. So what I recommend, try this till our next podcast. It really works. And it's just like hitting backhands. You just got to practice, okay? It's going to sound a little bit off, but try it. So you get that feeling of fear, whatever it is, like the butterflies, the drop in the stomach, there's however it comes for you. And just remember, oh, what did she say to do? So say, wow, I'm terrified. How exciting. Okay, because that's part of your excitement. Because guess what? You're about to learn, if you are open to this self-reflection, okay? And I promise there's nothing scary there. That's your critic. You know, it's like the Wizard of Oz. There's nothing there. The fear is simply someone else's belief that you're holding that's not yours. That's different than starting a new career. Let's say you want to be, you know, on the stage and you're nervous to go on the stage. That's not what I'm talking about. That's just natural, you know, stage fright that you get over. This is like fear saying, you suck, you're not good enough, you can't do this, and they're all going to see how bad you are. Okay, so if you don't try, they won't really know, but if you try, then they'll know for sure. Like if you don't try, they'll think, well, maybe he could have, or maybe she could. So the next time you feel afraid, all right, say, how exciting. And then say, what must I believe to be true to feel afraid? And I'll tell you, 100% of the time, it's that you don't feel you're good enough in some flavor, okay? So ask yourself, hey, if Nick can do it, so can I. If Taylor can do it, so can I. If Prianca can do it, hey, this is amazing that we have all these other humans because they're inspiring you. They're saying, I did it, so can you, okay? That's what they're saying. And if your critic is going to say, no, they're not, I'm jealous of them, that's 100% critic, okay? Your higher mind says, wow, learn from him. Do you see the difference?
No, I see the difference. And that's the thing about the brain is that if you are telling your brain that you can't do it, well, your brain just shuts down and it won't allow you to come up with any kind of solutions to get to where you want to go to. But if you keep your mind open and you say that it's very possible that I can achieve anything I put my mind to, well, then your brain will start bringing in realities and images and people that will help support you along that journey because now your belief is open.
What you just said is so important. So when you're in a positive state, when you have a positive outlook, which is step 3, we're going to talk about that next time. You get the downloads. When you're not there, you will not get the downloads. You cannot conceive what you're not at the vibration of. Okay, it's a different dimension. It'd be like you going, you really want sushi and you go to a burger place. You're not going to get sushi there. They just don't have it. So it's the same thing. So in that case, remember we were talking about action and how it's so difficult to do. Some people are so trained to take action that they freak out. They're terrified. They don't know about this. Now you do, by the way. So now it's not a habit. Now it's a choice. So choose to say, I'm excited. And they don't know about this. So they just start taking action and they just start ordering all these burgers thinking it's going to turn into sushi. Like it's not going to turn into sushi. It's going to be burgers. I don't have anything against either of those, by the way. It was just an example. So the biggest thing is first, you want to get to that belief, and also you want to be in that state, as Priyanka was saying earlier, where you're feeling good. When you're feeling down, get your alignment first, okay? That's most important, and that's the mental health piece. So you need to be in that state to get the downloads. And also, you guys, you can say something like this. I have no idea how. No idea. However, I know that I can do this. That's it. You don't have to know anything. That passes, okay? Because the universe is going like this. If you're sitting there going, I want this. By the way, want is off the menu. You want to say CPR, choose, resonate. I'm sorry, choose, prefer, or resonate. That's how you can remember it, CPR. When you say want, you're in a wanting state and everything is now. So it's just kind of a little trick. Try it. So the universe says, you're saying, I have no idea how, however, I know everything's working out for me. You can go that general and it works. I promise.
You know, in that period when I was facing that hesitation, and I was remaining positive, but I still had self-doubt creeping in, like you had mentioned. And I think that's very normal. That doubt to come up is very, very normal. Again, it's a part of your nervous system's protective mechanism to keep you safe. And what happens is that you have a drop in your dopamine, So in that time period, when you're ready to make this big change, it is very, very important that you are protecting your energy at that time period, that you are protecting it from negative individuals who will tell you that, what are you doing? It's crazy. This will never work. You have to protect yourself from the things that you see on TV, on social media, that may also deter you from pushing forward to get to your goals and dreams. It is so important that there's a period where you are isolating, or not isolating, I would say in solitude, and you are building your self-worth up by doing self-care routines, by meditating, by aligning yourself to what your inner voice is telling you, by taking time to exercise and to just pour all that energy that you have spent on other individuals to now back into you. And then you start growing from that, and your soul's mission starts growing. And so when I started to pour into myself and then start taking action on, hey, what I'm trying to do with AlignUs, it's incredible what that energy starts doing to your aura. It literally starts attracting others to help you along that journey. And that's what happened with me. I'm not somebody who had a business background, but because I was so passionate about wanting to help other individuals by creating this technology, they may do that by helping create a mindful initiative for kids, to get themselves aligned at a young age. It attracted my business partner, Kevin Drummond, who is also on a similar journey as I am. It attracted people like Taylor Wells, Prianca Naik, Jessica, just numerous individuals into your life that are also on the same mission and want to help support you to get you where you need to go. And that's the magic. That's truly the magic. We are literally meant to come here and follow whatever it is that's making our soul happy. And I promise you, if you take action on that, the universe will support you and bring you in people and resources and new ways of thinking and doing things to help make that dream come true. Truly, it's magical what happens.
It's true. Yeah, and that's another way you can tell the difference between excitement and anxiety, because if you're operating from anxiety, that won't happen. So it's effortless. Like it actually becomes, so it's synchronicity times everything. And it's astonishing how it works. I had a good metaphor for what Nick was saying about protecting yourself as you're learning this, you guys. So I trained as a tennis player, and I live with my tennis coach. And a good analogy is, because eventually you don't need to protect. Once you have this down, your vibration is such that you're only going to attract people of like vibration who are intentional and excited, right? And once in a while, of course, you're going to attract something different so that you can see the contrast, and that's fine and great, and you send them light. So imagine if I were training in tennis, right? I was wanting to go to Wimbledon, but instead of being on the tennis court, I was at the mall, like drinking Orange Julius. That's dating me. It was like in the 70s, late 70s. So that's not so good for the Wimbledon, right? Because I'm at the mall. So it's not that I needed to protect myself. It's that I needed to be intentional, be on the court, eating well, practicing, sleeping well, I didn't watch TV, all that kind of stuff. So, and that'll come naturally. You'll just want to eat well and meditate and stuff. And your friends will be inspired by you. Now, when people, Nick was talking a little bit about people saying like, you're crazy and all that kind of stuff. So remember that all beliefs are valid. And so it's challenging at first to not try to over-explain what you're doing and who you are. And I think that's one of the most challenging things when you begin, when people are doing things like that, and they actually mean well, but it really hurts a lot, because you're like, how are you not seeing that this is my excitement? So if you can remember that they're allowed to have that belief, and even though it hurts, it's not your belief, and they're allowed to have it, and you can just move on your way, and then start to choose people who get you.
Damn, I just got goosebumps when you said that. Perfectly said, is that there are going to be people around you that are not understanding what you're doing. And maybe they've known you from the past and they have this different version of you in their mind that doesn't think that you're capable of this. And that has to do with their own programming and their own beliefs. And like Taylor said, it's okay. But it's important for you to put up boundaries on those individuals who are saying negative things or telling you that it's not possible, because it's important for you to stay in the most positive state of mind and to get support from those individuals who you feel are positive and they are helping support your journey and encouraging you and uplifting you and helping you find resources that will help you get there. And you will find those people. It may not be as many people as you once had surrounding you, but it'll be your tribe that is extremely powerful. And remember that 4 quarters are more powerful than 100 pennies. And that's the one thing that you learn on this journey of change and transformation, is that you're not going to be surrounded by the same people that you were surrounded with growing up, because that won't allow you to fully change and be the person you need to be. Because who you're meant to be is a leader, is somebody that's going to step outside of the box, conquer their fears, and then pursue what their soul is telling them to pursue. And I promise you, you can tell you from experience itself, everything starts aligning for you and falling into place once you just take action on what it is that's making you excited. All those fears slowly but surely start going away. And there's magic that starts occurring, and it's your dreams coming true.
And did you hear that? He didn't even hear the pun with the 4 quarters and the pennies. And then you said, when you change, you said change. That's pretty cool. And also, by the way, in pretty soon, you won't even need to make boundaries, everyone, because it'll just be natural. You just will attract. It's just at the beginning, and just think to yourself, wait, am I at Orange Julius or am I on the tennis court, right? You want to be on the court where you're focused, not in, and again, nothing wrong with Orange Julius, nothing wrong with the mall, but that's not your excitement.
Think about a caterpillar when it needs to transform into a butterfly. They have to put a cocoon around them and then transform. And then they come out as this beautiful butterfly ready to take on the world. So think about yourself in the same manner. When you're undergoing transformation, you may need to put a little cocoon around yourself and only surround yourself in a nesting area that you feel comfortable with, which will be a couple of friends or family members that you choose, that they're bringing the best out of you and they're truly help nurturing you and the new person that you're becoming. And so I just want to leave with one last question for Taylor. What is some final advice that you would give our viewers and listeners out there on this really important topic about taking action? Because again, this is where people's dreams either become fulfilled or, they go by the wayside. And we are meant, in my opinion, for all of us, because I think we all have a special gift and a special, purpose that we all are meant to do in this lifetime. And each one of our purposes is meant to connect with each other and to support each other to have our dreams come true. But it's just that we talk ourselves out of it so many times. So any final steps or words of advice you would give our viewers to get them just started on taking action?
Absolutely. So do it now, whatever it is, because it's always now. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. And what Nick just said so think about a puzzle. Okay. Everyone, your only purpose here is to be you on planet Earth. Okay. How you do it, whether, I'm a conscious creation coach, that's my highest excitement. Nick is doing an amazing thing with AlignUs. That's his highest excitement. This is the sprinkles on our cake, though. Our cake is just who we are, and this is a reflection of us, okay? So most people have the cart before the horse, okay? They're like, I need to be this so that I can be a person. No, just you here. Take the pressure off yourself. You're an eternal, infinite being. What's the rush, okay? You're rushing to be someone you're not. And that can never, ever work. When you're you, everyone fits together perfectly. It's not about homogeneity. It's about diversity and everyone being themselves. Okay. So you're going to know when you're being you, and that's your only job. And then people are like, how am I going to pay the bills? The bills will be paid so easily. I can't even explain it to you. But again, that's the cart before the horse. So start now. However you start, when you hear your critics saying like, that's not enough or not enough, or that's stupid, say, thank you so much. I'm going to do this though. You don't have to kill him or her. You just know that they're scared. And remember, fear is just you from someone else's point of view, right? There's nothing there, I promise. And it will never, ever be gone because you're the whole universe. So where would it go? It's just going to not be relevant. Okay. It's going to fade off. And once in a while, it'll pop in. And when you're really in alignment, you guys, and you're out of alignment, it feels so bad that it doesn't last long because you just choose a different belief immediately. I promise. So it's all about your beliefs and choosing right now a belief that I am worthy just by being me authentically. That is going to take all the pressure off. And your critic will say, well, now you're not going to do anything. It's the opposite. When you take the pressure off and you say, what? It's enough just to be my authentic self. Yes, that's why you're here. Just be you. Shine your light. That's it. Then guess what? In comes a download. Go to Starbucks right now. What? It's like 11 at night or whatever. You go and then you bump into your friend from graduate school who's starting a company. And this is how it works, you guys. I have thousands of stories. Nick knows.
Yeah.
So just start now. I don't care what you do when you get off this podcast, or just do something. Write an email, take a nap. It doesn't matter. By the way, naps are very efficient. They reset you. So there you go. I'm going to end with that.
I love it. Well, look, hopefully this has inspired individuals to just take action and take that action now. You're being supported by the universe. All you have to do is take action and watch your dreams turn into reality. Make sure you join us next week where we talk about step 3 in the conscious creation model, which is staying in a positive vibration.
Yes.
Until next
very
time,
important.
peace.